Here we are with our next installment of Coffee with Numinus. I have my little Amanita Muscaria coffee mug here. I am here with Curtis LeDain, our manager of financial reporting at Numinus. Curtis, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Gosh, yeah, happy to join and happy to discuss Numinus and what it's like to work here.
So first thing, so you and I just hopped on an elevator, and you're give me a 30-second pitch as we're riding up the floors of your job at Numinus.
So I'm the manager of financial reporting, which is kind of an umbrella term and encompasses many things that I handle for the company. We have various entities and various departments. So the goal of my role would be to ensure that all of our operations and financial information at every department and level of the company is compliant with accounting standards, tax standards, whether that's in the US or Canada, and just ensuring that there's financial processes and controls maintained at each location that we have to ensure that finance gets the information we need in order to report accurately and correctly. We have quarterly reporting periods and annual reporting periods, which have reviews at the quarterly period, and then we have an audit at year end, which is a primary responsibility for finances to assist the third-party accounting firm with their audit and their review to ensure they have all the information they need, and we answer any questions about any of their testing that they do. Beyond the financial reporting piece, there's a day-to-day aspect to my role, which would primarily be around things like AP, AR, supporting other departments with projects that have a financial component where we can provide some benefit, and anything that kind of involves cash. Generally, we are involved just to ensure that we are knowing where that cash is going or it's captured appropriately in our bookkeeping.
So the psychedelic space changes and pivots so incredibly rapidly, and being that you're in an administrative capacity here at Numinus, how do you navigate that change and support the multiple lines of business that you mentioned earlier?
For sure, I would say, firstly, keeping a pulse on the space and the industry, being aware of what's happening, what's changing, what regulatory decisions are being made. Ultimately, regulatory decisions can play a big role in what changes happen in an industry, especially in the psychedelic space. So yeah, definitely keeping a pulse on it would be the first bet, because I'm not able to support Numinus or, provide any benefit to the change to Numinus without being aware of it first. And the second thing would be to stay optimistic. We're in a groundbreaking industry, and there's going to be successes and there's going to be failures. Thinking of, FDA decisions that push the timeline back on bringing some of these medicines to the population at large. Staying optimistic that that's not a failure in an end of that work. It just means there's going to be a little bit more. It's going to take a little bit more time to see that through. And doesn't mean that there isn't truth to the benefit of these sacred medicines. These medicines have been being used for thousands of years by many cultures and many people. And I guess, in short, there's evidence to support that they're going to be coming to the mainstream.
And to your point, I've been really thinking about this lately from an advocacy standpoint. There's those of us who are inside the psychedelic bubble, which is not my term, by the way, so I can't take credit for it. Someone else came up with it. And then we have the responsibility to those outside of the psychedelic bubble, right? To lead them to the research, as you mentioned, right? And lead them away from the sensationalism and the stigma that they read in XYZ magazine, right? I mean, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, we in this bubble, as you say, are privy to the research, the data. We're a lot more involved in that to be able to come to a more accurate conclusion about the medicine. And there's definitely risks and things to be aware of. And I think that's kind of one of the goals of Numinus, is to promote safe access and provide pathways for that. Because it's not to be taken lightly, these medicines. There's definitely, risk, and it's important to prepare and make sure it's the right thing for someone's healthcare journey.
The great thing about Numinus is that we have the research side of things to again add to that pool of data, and then also like the training side of things where we have the psychedelic harm reduction courses and whatnot. So to your point, it's kind of a full spectrum approach. So final question for you is, what's your favorite part of working at Numinus?
To give you a good one-liner, I would say being at the center of a mental health care evolution. I feel Numinus is in a good place in this industry and is trying to, help the movement along in terms of bringing this to the world. It just, there was a while ago in my career when I realized that, financial compensation was never going to be something that provided me with, fulfillment in my career. And so one of the things that brought me to Numinus was fulfillment. I see this as a place I could work for and find fulfillment at the end of the day, because I know what I'm doing. Even if I'm just at my home office working on, the numbers, I have a place and helping to move along, bringing these sacred medicines and healing to the world. I'm not in a clinic. I'm not a therapist or a counselor providing any of those services, but I'm supporting those operations. And so that to me is a fulfilling piece. And one of the reasons I love working at Numinus. In addition to that, I just quickly say being near thought leaders. You had just said previously about, our training division and our research. I think being exposed to that and having that all under one, company is really benefit to all of those who are involved with the company, because they are exposed to those thought leaders and both the training, the research. You see what's happening on the research side, what new medicines or what new information about these medicines is coming, because we're directly involved in that. And then we can also train, the public or new practitioners about that, not necessarily the in progress research, but, there's definitely transference of information between divisions. And so access to that is another reason. And the people at Numinus and the network that I've been able to develop and meet people within Numinus, either employees or contractors, everyone is just a great person. I mean, it's easy to say that just seeing them through the camera, but I get the sense that, everyone truly cares and is not just in it for getting their job done or getting to the end of the day or the weekend. It's really for a purpose and to build connection. And I think you can feel that in any conversation you have with someone at Numinus. The fact that these are ancient medicines that, certain cultures have been using for thousands of years. And, that speaks to a history behind them. And it kind of feels like the information was lost somewhere along the way to get to where we are today. And bringing it back is kind of cool. It feels like we're honoring our ancestors in a way. And the fact that it's going to bring healing to the world, to those who don't have access to it currently, I think is a great thing. I'm happy to be a part of it.
I love that. It's not an introduction. It's like a reintroduction, right? Into our...
Yeah, we're not the first people to be involved with this, but, it feels nuanced again.
Yeah. Well, I love it, Curtis. Thank you so much for your time today. It was a real pleasure hanging out with you, and we appreciate you, and you're doing great work. So hopefully we'll catch up with you again. Thank you all for checking in with us today on this episode of Coffee with Numinus. We hope to see you next time. And Curtis LeDain, ladies and gentlemen, take care.
Josh, it was great chatting with you.